So to get the lens separated from the taillight housing itself, put the taillight in the oven on a pan for 10 minutes at 250 degrees. And 250 is just enough to get the glue to come undone. Any more and it'll probably start to melt the plastic. I think the melting point for plastic is like 400 or some shit. I'm not too sure, but 10 minutes at 250 is just enough for the glue to loosen up, and you can just pry it right off. This is what I did for my EK hatch taillights. This piece kind of goes right in there like so. I might put this back in, but I'm not too sure. This piece like went like right here. I probably won't use that again. So yeah, you can use these or you don't have to. I don't really care. I don't think I'm going to, but that's where that went. The paint on this is like super old and crusty, and it's just like flaking off, and it's like super dirty at the bottom. But take some sandpaper and get some silver or metallic spray paint, and you can sand all this down and spray paint it so it'll look nice, and then go from there. Alrighty, so I just got back from the store. A couple things that you're gonna need to do this is obviously some new paint. I just picked like this up. It doesn't really matter. You can do like the shittiest paint job on this, and it won't matter because it's gonna be behind the clear plastic. As long as it's like a metallic or a silver color, it'll be absolutely fine. So you don't really have to worry about being the best painter because it really won't matter. So I just picked up some of this from Walmart. I got some like steel wire brush things to try and get all the paint off. Go ahead and use these and get all of the paint, the original paint off of this, because this is 25-year-old paint and it's got to go. It's got to be repainted. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and repaint this and I'll come back. Alrighty, so as you can see, I scuffed it up with the metal wire brush. You don't need to like sand it down all the way. It doesn't really matter as long as you can get the paint to stick to it. Like I said, you don't have to be the best spray painter in the world. As long as it's a silver color and it sticks, it's fine. But yeah, I got all of that crud out of there. Obviously the paint looks ass, but I'm not gonna sand it down all the way, but I scuffed it up everywhere pretty good and get all the nasty old paint out. So yeah, on to the next step of actually painting it. Alrighty, so yeah, I just got done painting the inside of the taillight, and it's looking pretty good. Like I said, you don't have to be the best painter. When we make the lens and it goes over, the lens is transparent, but it's still kind of foggy, so you won't be able to see any definition or anything throughout it, so it won't really matter. I taped off some of the edges with like some tape, just because this trim around here, you're gonna be able to see from the back of the car. This you won't, because this light goes behind like the hatch or the trunk of your hatch. So like that doesn't matter. You can spray whatever on that and it doesn't matter because no one will see that. But this trim around here, you probably will be able to see. So if you want to mask that off, but yeah, it's all spray painted up. You can do a few coats. You can do how many coats you want to. Doesn't really matter as long as it gets silver. Then you should be good. Alrighty, so while that over there dries, we're gonna take our focus onto the lens. This big sheet of like clear plastic, you can get it at the Home Depot in the electric department. Yeah, and I bought it for like 10 bucks. It has like this weird spiky side and then a smooth side. We're probably gonna have the smooth side on the outside of the lens. But yeah, so right now what I'm gonna do is cut out a square, and then I actually ended up buying a heat gun from the Home Depot as well. If you already have a heat gun, then like great, but this was like 20 bucks and it'll probably do the job. It's just thin plastic, so I can, you know, mold it to the shape. This is pretty thin and pretty flimsy. Alrighty, so it has been a while, and this is what I have been coming up with. So yeah, here's the lens what I tried to do before is I took the old stock lens, put it on a tray in the oven, and set it to 250, and I put this on top of it to see if it would shrink down and take the shape of the lens. That didn't go super well. Stuff like this started to happen where it would like crimp because you kind of, I don't know, it's like the plastic is like forcing itself like around a shape and it doesn't hold to that shape very well. So on the ends, it'll get to like this type of thing, and it was kind of wacky. So I took it back out when it was like kind of a basic shape, and now I'm going around with my heat gun and heating up all the sides and kind of pushing it into place with this that came off the tail light. It's gonna go back up there. I'm gonna put it back in after, but all right, so I got the lens to be the shape that I want it to now, although I took it a little bit too far. Like I said, don't do what I do. Just use a heat gun and work with it, and, you know, just work the plastic. Yeah. I thought that if I took that little, like, part that was sticking out and cut it, that when I melted the plastic a bit and put it, kind of worked it a bit more, it would kind of, the two halves would come together. But that was a mistake, and it kind of fucked up my housing a bit, which isn't cool. So I'm not going to necessarily junk this project. I'll probably end up still using this, which it's a little crusty, but hey, just don't do what I do. Just work it a bit more, and it should come out pretty good. But yeah, a little crusty on that side, but I think when I kind of, you know, glue it on, and I'm still gonna, you know, trying to work the lens out a bit more. I'm not completely done with it, but I think that this is the shape that I want. I kind of have all the corners cut out to how it should be. And once I glue it in place, I'm gonna see if I can fix that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the